Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello, all my friends and fans and listeners to the Boxing Breakdown. Welcome to another episode. And again, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. And today's episode is going to be absolutely fantastic, as usual. But today, I have a very, very special guest coming into the studio by the name of Abraham Supernova.
Supernova, yeah, that's a supernova. Supernova, yeah, that's a supernova. Supernova, yeah, that's a supernova. Supernova, I call that a supernova.
So, let me just tell you a little bit about Abraham Supernova. For those of you that do not know, I'll give you a little bit of background on Supernova, and then when he comes into the studio, we're going to chop it all up with him, right? So Abraham Supernova was born on January 14th, 1994 in Carolina, Puerto Rico. He was born to Dominican parents, and he moved to the U.S. with his parents and 9 siblings when he was an infant. With all 12 family members living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Albany, New York. He began boxing at the age of 12, going on to compile a pretty outstanding amateur record of 167-11 before turning professional. As a professional, Nova made his professional debut on April 29th, 2016. Scoring a first-round technical knockout victory over Wisu Johnson at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. After compiling a record of 12-0 with 10 KOs, he faced Suleiman Sigua for a vacant WBA, NABA super featherweight title on November 18th, 2018, and that fight took place at the Royale nightclub in Boston, Massachusetts. Nova defeated Suleiman via unanimous decision to capture his first professional title, with one judge scoring the bout 97-93 and the other 2 scoring the bout 96-93. After 2 wins in a non-title fight, one being a unanimous decision against Brian Piellas in December 2018, and a TKO victory against Mario Lozano in May of 2019. He made the first defense of his WBA, NABA title against Luis Castillo on August 23rd, 2019. That bout took place at the Encore Boston Harbor in Everett, Massachusetts. With less than 30 seconds remaining in the first round, Nova landed a left jab, a right-hand combination to drop Castillo to the canvas. Castillo was unable to make it to his feet before the referee counted 10, awarding Supernova with a first-round knockout TKO victory, a KO victory. So the rest of the story gets super, super interesting for Abraham Supernova. And without further ado, I would like to welcome him into the studio so that we can learn all about Supernova and where he's going, man. This is quite a contender. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Abraham Supernova. What's up, what's up, what's up?
Supernova, yeah, that's a supernova. Supernova, yeah, that's a supernova. Supernova, I call that a supernova.
What's going on? What's going on? How's everything?
Oh man, everything is great. Everything is great. Yeah, man, I had a battle with COVID-19, but praise God, I'm past that, and everything is super, super great over here on my end. How are you?
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you was able to beat it and come out strong. But over in this side, everything is good. I can't complain. Um, it is what it is. Entering 2021. We're gonna see what the year brings us.
Yeah, you're gonna make some noise in 2021. That's for sure.
Indeed.
Did you just get out of the gym?
Oh no. It's actually a big snowstorm here, so I was actually removing snow. It
Right.
was it's a big snowstorm. So I was cleaning out my driveway and
Yeah.
got three cars, clean out 3 cars. So it was a big task, but supernova gets it done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we had that same snowstorm come through this way, and it's all quiet now. And so yeah, but you didn't hurt your back or anything doing that, pushing that shovel.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
That just put you in better shape.
You got a good workout. Yeah, you got a good workout out of it. We got 30 inches, so it was big.
Yeah, man. The last time I saw you, when was the last time I saw you? I think I saw you in Rhode Island, right?
No, last time you saw me was in New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah. In New Hampshire. That's right.
Yeah.
That was in August.
Yes.
Yeah, man. And then prior to that, I saw you. Gosh, I think I saw you at the Teofimo camp, right?
Yep. Yep. Prior to that was the Lopez camp for Richard Comey.
Yeah, man. That was quite a run.
Yeah, that was a hell of a camp.
It was a hell of a camp. You guys turned it up in there.
Indeed. Yes, we did.
Yep, and I remember you sparred my girl, Britton Hart. Remember that? Shout out.
Oh, yeah,
Britton
yeah.
Hart.
That was awesome. That was awesome, man. She's a strong girl.
Yo, you were so kind, man. You were so good with her. It was great. It was a wonderful day.
Indeed.
Yeah, man. So, you know who else was in that camp in the Teofimo camp that time was Baranchek. Baranchek was there.
Yes, yeah, Berchelt was there. That was amazing work they had. That was awesome.
Yo, man, how about his last fight?
Oh, fireworks is the answer for that one.
Talk to me about that fight.
That was a great fight. Back and back action. He got the success the early rounds, and then Homeboy came back in the mid rounds, and it was just a very entertaining fight. And I know a lot of fans got their money's worth and enjoy that fight. That's the fight a lot of fans be looking for, and what people want to see. They want to see the action back to back. And both of those fighters, they both have heart of a champion. Mm-hmm. They both hit the canvas, got back up, and was able, to continue fighting. Much respect to both of them fighters.
Yeah, man. Baranchik and Cepeda. That was a fantastic fight. And I believe, is that the fight of the year, or have they not decided what the fight of the year is yet?
They haven't decided yet, but I know that's a nominee for fight of the year. That's a nominee.
I'll vote for that fight. I'll vote for that fight for sure.
Indeed.
And that happened in the bubble, right?
In the bubble, yes. If I would have to pick of all the fights, I would pick that fight to be fight of the year. Or in second will be Diamante Verdejo with the Nakatani. That was a good fight as well.
That was a great fight. That was a great. I just did a podcast. My last podcast. I covered that. I covered that fight. But you know who else showed up in that camp? I don't think you were there that day, but Sparrow actually came through that Teofimo camp.
Oh yeah, I was there that day when he sparred with Lopez.
Oh, you were there. That's right. You were there.
I was there. Yeah, okay. I was there. He sparred with Lopez. I think he did like 4 rounds, 3 rounds.
Yeah, for sure. Sparrow coming out of Philadelphia. Hey, we're gonna get in a little bit into that fight in a little bit. But how's your dog?
Oh, she's great. She's big. She's doing really good. She just became a service dog.
Wow.
So she's doing awesome. She's she's a great dog.
What kind
of good listener?
What kind of dog is it?
I got a German Rottweiler.
Wow. Yeah, the dog's name is Luna, right?
Indeed, yeah, Luna, yeah. She's awesome.
That's awesome, man. So how's her training been going? What you been up to?
Just training, staying active, staying out of drama and just and just waiting for that call. I'm ranked number 5 in the world by the WBA, ranked number 6 in the world by the WBO. So I'm just and it'll be anytime soon. But there's no rush. I'm still
You're going in
like.
and out a little bit.
Say that again.
You're going in and out a little bit.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm just being patient and waiting for my timing, for my opportunity to come in, for myself to rise for the moment.
Oh yeah, and it's coming. I know it's
Indeed.
coming. I can feel it coming.
Yeah.
You might have to use that song. What's that Phil Collins song? I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
Right?
Yeah,
That's a great song, man. That's a good next ring walk. So how have you been dealing with COVID-19 and sparring and just being in the gym? How's that working?
Oh man, that's the difficult side. That's the bad part. Finding sparring, dealing with this COVID, social distance. Those are the difficult tasks. But having a great stable team that I have, we're able to get the work done and spar each other and help each other out to stay active and stay safe.
Right.
But overall, to get new looks and new sparring, to get similarities to the opponent that we're fighting or we may be fighting, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And so I know not everyone is capable to have the best camp, but I know us as fighters, we're the type of fighter that we adjust and we'll make it happen. So.
Oh yeah, and all the top world class modalities and training regimens. So you can manage somewhat when you're out there in COVID land.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely equipped to handle that. I've watched you work, so I know that to be true. I know that to be true.
Yes.
So, I'm sure the listeners are going to want to know a little bit about, your beard, right? We can't have an interview without talking about your beard. So I wonder if you could just share with the listeners a little bit about what's behind the beard. And it's really a trademark. You've become very recognized with that beard, and I think it's just a really great look for you.
Yeah, like you said, it's a trademark. It's my representation. It tells you a lot about who I am and what I do. It all started with the support of the national of the hurricane that happened in Puerto Rico, the Maria. The national baseball team. They all decided to dye their hair blonde as a support, which the color blonde mean unity, to stay united. And me being born in Puerto Rico, I wanted to support as well of the hurricane that happened in Puerto Rico. So we wanted to be a bit different, because that's what we are. And we decided to dye our not our hair but our beard blonde. And then we dyed it blonde, and we fought, and we got a lot of love and a lot of looks at it. So.
Wow.
We attract a lot of attention, a lot of people, and we like the feedback we got from it. There's always going to be some negative comments out there, but at the end of the day, it was all positive. It was all comments, but more positive than nothing. So, we kept that route, and then we make that my signature look, who I am, supernova. I'm part of I'm not just part of the world, but I'm part of the galaxy. I'm part of the universe. And
I love it, man. I love it.
That's how we're rolling with it. This is my look, and you will be seeing this look for the rest of my career.
Supernova is a powerful and luminous stellar explosion.
Yes.
That's what's up.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, man.
Powerful.
Very powerful. Yeah, man. So listen, as you know, I'm a big fan of yours. I've been following you, and but what I didn't really get is what kind of stellar amateur background you actually had. Like I never really knew what your amateur background was. And I believe it was over 107, over 200. How many fights did you have in the amateurs?
Had a lot. And it had 167 wins, 11 losses, and probably around 60 knockouts I had in the amateurs. I was a big puncher. You can ask Lopez. You can ask, my amateur stablemates, I was knocking everyone out in the amateurs,
Yeah, with
and
that
not just
hook.
like not stoppage. I was putting them out cold and stretchers.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I know that. And with a record like 167 amateur fights, 167 wins with 11 losses, I mean, clearly, I mean, your pro record is similar, which we'll get into in a bit. You're in the 130-pound division, right?
Yes,
And
130 pounds.
division is chock full of talent and competition waiting to take place.
Indeed.
So, who do you feel is the best in that class outside of Supernova?
Well, Supernova, and for me to pick, that would be a very hard decision to pick because I can't say that unless I'm in the ring with them and see who I gotta fight everyone, and I'll tell you who's more difficult or whatnot because style makes fights. So that's it. I can't give you an answer for that, but if I would have to give you an answer who has the best resume, I would say it would be Miguel Berchelt. Miguel Berchelt, I think he defended his title probably 6, 7 times. He's the reigning longest world champion at 130 pounds for the WBC. So I would say he has the best resume right now. But to see who's the best fighter, that's I can't answer that because I haven't been in the ring with those guys.
All right. Well, they've been talking about Shakur Stevenson lining up with Berchelt. What do you think about that matchup?
That's an interesting matchup, to be honest. That's a box. The boxer versus the puncher. That's an interesting matchup. Berchelt got the experience. He got the power. Of course, Shakur, he got the talent. He got the skill. So, and he has the youth. So, it all comes down to to watching that fight and let the better man win.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, you're not making any predictions, I take it, because you're in that division, but. I'm thinking that's going to be probably Shakur's toughest fight.
Yes.
Certainly, the fight with Toka Khan was relatively disappointing. From the stand, if you're a Toka Khan fan, Toka Khan Clary, I certainly have admired his work for quite a long time, and I felt like he just it was almost like he was a picture perfect opponent for Shakur Stevenson in that he just sat in the pocket with his hands high, right at the mark, allowing the shots to just come filtering in, and that, or he was going backward. He was on his back leg.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like to be honest, Toka Khan was too small for Shakur. Toka Khan he's a 120, 226 pounder.
Exactly.
He's not a really 130 pounder. He's a very small fighter, and I feel like he lost. I feel like in that fight he lost confidence. To be honest, I feel like he didn't fight the way he usually fights. I feel like he was already discouraged, and I feel like having fighting Shakur Stevenson, he has a big name behind him, and I could see a lot of people getting discouraged just stepping in the ring with him because of the hype he brings. So I feel like he didn't fight his fight. If he would have fought his fight, it would have been a better fight. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Shakur won and he got it done. Not nothing what Shakur did. He got it done. And Toka Khan, he's a great fighter, but I feel like he wasn't able to display his real talent that night.
Well, you know what? I'm glad to hear you say that because I agree with you 100%. I actually have followed Toka Khan for a long time. I've seen him in some tough fights. I've seen him do amazing things in the ring. And when I saw that performance, I'm just thinking to myself, this is not the Toka Khan I've been following. So, to your point, Shakur has a lot of hype behind him. They're fighting in the bubble. There's something to that. There's something to the way that all lays itself out. And I just feel like you're right. He's just a smaller fighter, but Berchelt is a different kind of fight. It's a different kind of fight. So
yes,
yeah.
Berchelt's a different kind of fight. Berchelt he's a world champion. He got the hype behind him. He got the buzz. So he's gonna go into that fight with a lot of confidence. Unlike Toka Khan, he didn't have a lot of buzz. He didn't have a lot of recognition. He didn't, he just didn't. I feel like he was intimidated by Shakur Stevenson hype and his following and all of that. Unlike Berchelt, he's gonna come in there with like I'm the man, I run thing, and I'm gonna do my thing. So I feel like it's gonna be a great fight because we're gonna have two confident fighters in there going all out, and we're gonna see the best man win.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but this is what I want to say. So Abraham Supernova is a 2017 national champion. He's a super featherweight contender, in case you don't know and you're not hip to this. He's his professional record is 19 fights, 0 losses. 14 of those wins have come by way of big knockout and 5 by way of decision. His knockout ratio is 73.68. And quite honestly, like it's almost like a train coming. A train is coming. You're signed by, I believe it's Top Rank, and also, is there someone else involved in the promotion?
Is 12 rounds promotion. They're out of Belgium, and Murphy's Boxing.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's excellent. And then you're managed by the one and only David McWaters, and I believe Tim Van Nieuwhouse. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. They're both my co-managers, representing Split Team Management.
Perfect. Yep. Split Team Management. Shout out Split Team Management. And you are, so check this out for y'all listening in. You're ranked by the WBA at number 5. And You're ranked by the WBO number 7.
Yes.
And where exactly are you ranked in the WBC and the IBF? What's up with those guys?
So I'm ranked in the WBC. Last time the rankings came out, I'm ranked number 22.
Yeah.
And I think by the IBF, I think it was 32. So I'm ranked in there, but I still haven't fought for none of their belts or none of their sanctioning. So, but I'll get there.
Yeah, for sure. WBC and IBF. Hey, listen, you're on notice, guys. Come on, you got to pay attention here. All right, Supernova is rocking it out. So, let's talk about the guys that are at the top of the division in the WBO, WBA, WBC, and the IBF. So in the WBO, we've got Jamal Herring. Let's talk about him. What do you know about him?
He's a fighter that had a tough, start up in his career. Caught a couple L's, but then he had a nice turnaround. He signed with Top Rank and got a good management, and they got the right fights and was able to become WBO World Champion. He's a great fighter. But I'm ranked by that, and I know Split Team Management and Top Rank, Carl Moretti with Bob Arrow. They reached out to him, not to him, but to his team about fighting me a couple times, and they turned it down. So I don't blame them. I gotta wait to become mandatory to fight that fight, but I was willing and ready to fight him whenever. So it is what it is, but. Overall, he's a great fighter, great guy, great person. I know he was in the Marines. He's a great person, great guy, great fighter, and much respect to him and what he's doing in the boxing game.
Right, for sure. Shout out Jamal Herring, and then you got in the WBA, Leo Santa Cruz.
Right, none no more. We got Gervonta Davis.
Oh. Got it. Gervonta Davis is in the WBA. No, yeah, the WBA. And then WBC is Miguel Berchelt, and the IBF is Jojo Diaz, right?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes. We have called out Tank a couple times. So and then we called out Rennie Alvarado. He's the WBA World Champion, and I feel like I'm a high risk, low reward fighter. I'm not really recognized like these fighters, but I have the skill set and the qualities as these high class fighters, So when they see me, they're like, man, this guy is difficult, and fighting him, I ain't gonna get, I'm not gonna get rewarded, and it's a challenge. So I might as well skip him, and that's why I have to wait to become mandatory so I could get my shot, because I know right off the rip, none of these guys gonna call me out to fight me. Because like I said, I'm a high risk, low reward.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I can understand that. For those of you that are listening in, if you haven't had a chance to see Supernova's work, you certainly can find his stuff up on YouTube, and if you want to research him, you can see why some of the top guys, some of the high class guys at the top of the division don't want to, hear anything about Supernova. Amazing. So, basically you entered the ring, I believe, was it in June when you entered the ring against Avery Sparrow?
Yes, it was June. It was in June. Yep, when I entered the ring with Avery Sparrow. Yep.
Yeah, and you came out victorious in a 10-round contest, and I believe the scores were like 99-91, 97-93, and 96-94 in what was a really interesting fight. If you look at the fight in totality, it was a really interesting fight. It took place in the bubble at the MGM Grand Conference Center in Las Vegas. And, you really stepped on the gas after round six, 6-10, and you really, came out victorious. I was wondering if that was that your game plan to do that? Or did it just kind of unfold that way?
A bit of both. I could give you an explanation on how that fight occurred and what happened. Understanding that, he also got a late notice for that fight. I also got a late notice. They make it seem that he just got the late notice, but I did as well. So prior to that, I was supposed to fight Toka Khan.
Right.
And, that fight fell out. So, going from a southpaw to a fighter like Avery Sparrow, slick and very with a lot of movement. It was tough to get that type of sparring, like that quality. While we already had Toga Khan, we had a southpaw fighter, so the adjustment was a bit difficult. But us as fighters, we know how to adjust. So we took the fight. The fight happened. I know I wasn't at my best conditioning. I wasn't in my best shape. So going in the fight, I was being very reserved. I didn't want to, and also I would listen to my corner. My corner didn't want me to go all out because, they also understand the conditioning I was bringing in the fight. I wasn't at my best. And that's what a lot of people don't know is that if you've been following me my whole career and if you watch me fight, I'm a seek and destroy fighter. I go in there and I take you out. But with this whole pandemic situation, and we was like the third fight of the bubble, the whole this pandemic thing going on.
Yeah.
We didn't. I didn't have a lot of time to train. All the gym shut down, all that stuff going on. So I wasn't at my best. So going in that fight, starting off, I couldn't really go out the way I wanted to because, hey, I was like, if I take this chance and I don't get him out, I'm gonna gas out, and then he can have success. So I was like, let me play a slave and let me box, and then if I could still have a bit of energy, I'll take it out later on the fight. And that's exactly what I did. I feel like I was able to win those early rounds just using minimum movement and scoring. As I was scoring, how they had it 99-91, that's how we scored it. I feel like the only round that I lost was the 5th round. But other than that, I feel like I dominated the fight. That I boxed clearly. I hit him with clean, flush shots. And I feel like the commentators and some of the judges, they got caught up with all these noises he was making and all this shadow boxing he was doing in the air. Yes, it may seem that he was busy, but being busy of throwing punches, and it's a difference being busy throwing punches and having effective shots. I had a lot of effective shots. Yeah, I didn't throw as much, but everything I threw landed. So,
yeah,
I feel like that was the difference. And if you were a real judge, you will understand that.
That's
you would
right.
See
That's right. No, I would also play into, I would actually add to what you said, which is that, yes, Avery Sparrow has had in the fight, you could see he was not in his best shape. He came into the ring not in his best shape. And you could see that he was really relying on on his jab and the dimensional. He has a very, very nice dimensional jab. And he throws it from lots of different angles. And there's a lot of head movement, shoulder movement, and footwork that accompanies it. So, when you hear that, when that jab is coming out and hitting a dead weight or just hitting the air, and you hear the ha, 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 ha along with that, that's, that's like the theater of boxing. So I am just going to concur with what you said, because if you go back and you look at the fight, you can see a lot of the shots were just landing in the air. They weren't even landing. So I mean, no disrespect to Avery Sparrow or anything, but because actually I would take my hat off to him for being able to produce that kind of a spectacle for the judges, to the point where they would give him those rounds, which I just didn't see that,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you even quoted as saying that Sparrow was kind of slippery and tough to hit, in the fight, and your patience was really key in the fight, and I just want to commend you, because I think that the strategy of waiting till, halfway through the fight, or a little more than halfway through the fight, to really turn it on. His jab, there was nothing in the jab. There was nothing there. So that was really a very smart COVID-19 fight, fight in the bubble.
Indeed. So we made it work. We made it happen. No disrespect to him. Like I said, he's a great fighter, but he didn't get me at my best, and I'm sure that I probably didn't get him at his best. And it was just it was the better who wins, who adjusts and makes the better thing. And I feel like I did. I feel like I did everything correct, and I feel like if you watch the fight closely and turn the commentating down, you will see nothing on his side land, and you will see my jabs, my body shots, my right hands. You will see all the effective shots that I landed, But a lot of people get caught up with the commentators of what they say, and then they start agreeing and listening and seeing a different perspective in a fight because they're getting caught up by the commentating. A lot of times, if you watch a fight, you'll see a different version of a fight. If you watch it 3 to 4 times with the volume down, you see a different version every single time because you're not getting caught up of what the commentators are saying.
Right. No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. If you want to know, if you want to be able, well, first of all, you have to be trained to score matches and really know what you're looking for, what the scoring criteria actually is. But, assuming that, you really can't have the volume up because you really can't score the match properly when you hear them, whatever it is that's going on. In terms of the commentating, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. And like you said, I kind of tend to agree with you that there were a lot of air shots and a lot of noise, sound effects that were taking place throughout the fight. And I saw probably like in the 7th round. I don't know if it happened in the 7th round, but I could see your eyes, and I saw you kind of just, staying with him. He was on the outside of the ring, the ring ropes, and you were kind of just walking him down. And I could feel like that you really saw something there. What was it that you saw?
Well, I hit him with a great right hand, and he had no response for it. And then, once I hit him, he was running up around. He spit his mouthpiece out to look for more time. So I knew I had him hurt, but I was like, hey, I got to slow it down because after I threw that little exchange, I got real tired. So I had to slow it down, get my wind back, and try it again. But like I said, I wasn't at my best that night. I was still able to get the victory, but in that round, that's what I saw. And then continuing those other rounds, I was looking to seek and destroy, but very smart in the way where I won't gas out because I feel like he was still dangerous. He's a dangerous fighter. He's a good fighter.
Yeah, for sure.
If I slip up, he could still get away with something. So I was being real smart in everything I was doing, but at the same time, I was looking for that knockout.
Yeah, man, and to know that you were not at your 100%, and to know what the punch stats are for that fight, courtesy CompuBox, your total number of punches landed versus Sparrow, you landed 112, he landed 60.
That says it all there.
Yeah, man, you threw 428, he threw 434, but you landed at a 26% rate, and Sparrow landed at 14. So that speaks directly to those air shots.
Yes.
You landed 46 of your jabs versus Sparrow's 16. So only 16 of all those jabs actually landed. And jabs thrown, he threw 251 jabs. And you threw only 249. So you were behind him in the number of jabs, but you landed 25% of your jabs.
And and just by that, you can see that people get caught. Oh, he's being more busy, so I'm giving him the rounds. Yeah, how you gonna give him Marcus being a bit more busy, but he's not landing? Right? Is it being busy or is it landing? And
Right.
that's what I was doing. I
That's
was
all right.
landing, and he wasn't.
Right. Exactly. So no, I mean, I think all in all, knowing that you're not even in, 130-pound top
Yeah.
five, condition, to know that you
Mm-hmm.
did that with an incredible fighter, because Sparrow's a great fighter, that you were able to produce that kind of a performance is, hats off to you. And what was it like to perform in the MGM bubble? What was that like? Walk us through that experience. I've been there. I was just there.
That's a very different and difficult experience. I would say the whole process of, after the weight cut, not training the right way because you're quarantined. So if you got weight to lose, I was struggling to make the weight. And then after that, the dehydration, man. You can't go out to eat. You can't walk around. You can't shop. You got to eat the food they eat, and you got to eat at the time they eat. So the dehydration was really tough. And then going to the fight, man, there's no crowd. And I'm a fighter. I feed off the crowd. I love the crowd. The crowd, they pump me up, man. I love my fans, and they give me my motivation. They give me my adrenaline going, and fighting in that empty box, right? That square circle. It was just different. That bubble was different. So I still was able to get it done, but hey, man, I need my fans back ASAP.
Yo, what was it like for you? Because you were one of the first warriors to get out there in June. What was it like? I mean, I could probably answer this, but I'm going to ask you to share with the listeners what it was like when you walk out for your ring walk. They throw the smoke in your face, right? You come out, there's nobody there. And then all you see is all these masked people, masked strangers. Like, what was that like for you?
I was like, the world's coming to an end.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then on top of it, what was the food like? Walk us through what the food is like when you're in the bubble.
Not to talk bad about the food or whatnot, but I have to. It's horrible. I'm a Hispanic dude. I'm Latino. I'm used to popping up with my rice and chicken and my platanos and stuff. So
Hey.
eating that and going from eating bologna sandwich, it's not the same. It's not the same at all.
Do you know what? When I was there, I was up there with Jonathan Rodriguez. Shout out Indio's Boxing in Bethlehem and Jonathan Rodriguez. But I was out there with the team, and I kind of felt like it was like being in the Parthenon, like being one of those old school gladiators who's locked up in a cage, waiting for the door to open up for the tigers to, come out and just ravage you. That's kind of what I was experiencing while I was there.
Oh man, I understand exactly what you mean.
I know you do better than most. So
yes.
How many times you want to fight in 2020, 2021?
At least I'll say 6 times. I mean, say 6 times. 3 times.
Yeah.
Get those numbers in. Because I'm fighting high quality opponents, so they're long training camps, tough training camps. But yeah.
So, who out of the top guys are you interested in facing? Who are they?
Any world champion, to be honest. You're a world champion, we fighting. I need that strap. I need that belt. I need to become champ. I need to get what's mine. So, right now the world champ is Miguel Berchelt. I would love to get in a ring with him. Jamar Herring, I would love to get in a ring with him. Jojo Diaz, I would love to get in a ring with him. And Tank Davis, I would love to get in a ring with him. Or Vinny Alvarado, I would love to get in a ring with them. Any of those fighters, any world champions, I'm not ducking or dodging no one. I've let that known clear to Top Rank that I need to fight the best. I'm a great fighter. I have, championship skills. So let's get it going.
Yeah, man, that's powerful. Coming from Supernova himself, man, that's quite a statement. And certainly they're all on notice because you just put them on notice that you're
Yes,
ready to fight the best of the best. And
indeed, the best of the best.
yeah, and so what do you think about the 135-pound division? Because I know that you probably come in, you probably walk around weight is somewhere in the 40s, right?
Yes, well, yes, I walk around 144, 140, 143. I stay around there. I don't pass that, so I stay in 140. I never seen 150. I never seen 147.
Right.
The highest I've been is 46, 45, but I stay in 44, 43. That's out of shape. When I start getting in shape, I walk around 140, 142.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, because even in that weight class, that's a poppin' weight class right now, a la Teofimo Lopez and that whole crew there. But,
Yes.
I know that Teofimo is probably not going to stay in that weight class for very long, much longer. I mean, I guess they want to see what comes, but
Hmm.
that's another weight class. I think, with your body type, you would do just fine there if you ever wanted to fight at 135.
Oh yes, of course, yes. I would love to move up, but I have things I have to get done at 130. I'm ranked at 130, so I got to get my strap at 130. And then after I'm done getting what I'm getting at that weight class, then the 135 will be next, 140 will be next, even 147. I feel like I have the body to bulk up, get big, and do some damage at those weight class. So let's get it popping.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You heard it here first. Um, so, you know, I just want to make a statement, which is to say that you are such a likable person, and you are extremely, extremely marketable, which is, probably why Top Rank and Split T both, separately, and all of your team has really ignited your career. And what is your view on being marketable and the importance of working on this aspect of your career as you climb up the ranks?
It's everything, especially now in this generation, in this era. You have to be marketable. Everything is now is ran through social media, the internet. Everything is powered, through Instagram, Facebook. So you have to be marketable if you want to be the best. It's not just being the best fighter; it's being a marketable fighter now. People people think it's about the skills. Yeah, the skill matters, but you also got to sell the skills. You got to put assets on the seat, and
Yeah, so that's right.
that's what's all about now in this era. And and that's one thing I don't have to try so hard because I just have that. But I'm putting a bit more because I know that's what's needed to make it to that next level.
Oh yeah, yep, that's right. To pack them in, and
Hmm.
certainly your skills pay bills, and you certainly have the skills and the marketability to stand at the top. You've got the following. I know you've fought all over the world, right?
Yes.
You fought all over the world. What are some of the places you fought?
As an amateur, I fought in Poland. I fought Mexico, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, France. I fought in Costa Rica. I fought in where is that? I fought in as a Mexico plenty of times. All over. And then as a pro, I've been to uh China. I've been to Uruguay. I've been to where's I've been to I gotta think of these places. Guadalajara, Mexico, Dominican Republic,
Wow.
Belgium. The list goes on of the places I've been to as a professional and as an amateur. So I traveled a lot, and I grabbed a lot of fans.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing, man. And so what would you tell your younger self? If you could talk to your younger self, what would you tell your younger self?
Mm. To be honest, nothing. I feel like I've worked hard and I've done everything I could have done. I've never cheated my way out on anything. I come from a very hardworking family, so there's nothing I could really say that I would have done different because everything's coming the way I wanted to.
Wow. That's great, man. So I did it my way.
Yeah.
That's another ring walk for you.
Yeah.
So what would you tell younger fighters? If you could mentor a younger fighter, what would it be that you would tell them that they're just starting out, they're somewhere in their amateur career and they're looking to turn pro? What would you tell them?
I would tell them by first is to have patience. Patience is the key to everything. Patience and understand timing, that everything in life has its timing. This is a purpose for everything. A lot of fighters, young, they want to rush into it. They want to get into hype. They want to get into that, but they have to understand that God has a timing for everyone. God has a purpose for everyone, and you cannot rush that time. So just be patient, work hard, and believe in God. And if you follow those three things, I feel like you will make it far in life, and you will
Amen.
get your dreams to come true. So just, by first of all, follow God, trust God, work very hard and be patient, and whichever order you want to do it, just do that. And I tell you, well, first God, but the other two, whichever order, do that. And I promise you, God will, your dreams will come true and everything will come into play. But if you rush this process, if you rush things, a lot of bad things can happen. You could be in the wrong end of the road. And I just say that because, God has a purpose for each one of us in life, and He knows what He wants for us. A lot of times I say that I look at these fighters, I'm 26 years old. I look at these fighters, they're 20, 21, 22 years, and they're world champion. I'm like, wow, like, why I'm not a world champion? But I think about it like, I'm like, probably if I was the world champion at that age, I won't be able to handle that pressure. I probably won't be able to be, in the right state of mind, having all that attention, all that fame. God chooses who He wants at that, in their time of
Yeah.
life.
So
And so I understand my place, and I understand that God has a purpose for me. And I might not be a world champion now or later. I know I'll be a world champion, but it's all in God's timing. And all I have to do is work hard, be patient, and follow God.
Ay, ay, ay. So beautiful. Abraham, so beautiful. Well said, man. Just really, really beautifully, stated. And, you know, tell us something, tell the listeners in the Boxing Breakdown, something we don't know about Abraham Supernova, something we don't know about you and nobody else knows about you.
Um, what can I say? I'm a great person. I come from a very big family. My parents are pastors or ministers. My dad is a minister. He preaches around the world. He opens up churches and saves souls, for kids and for adults. And also does my mom. My mom runs a church here in Albany, New York, and I have a lovely, blessed family that is all powered by the Lord. So
Wow.
that's something you can know about me, that I have a real big faith in Jesus Christ and my Lord Savior. And you know I know one thing after I'm done boxing, that's my calling, is to preach the word of God and save souls, just like my parents do.
Wow, man. That is, that's so inspiring. To me
Yeah.
personally, that's very inspiring. And thank you so much for sharing that with everybody and sharing it with me.
Oh, you're
Um,
welcome.
I guess we're winding down to the end of our podcast. I have a couple more questions for you. One of which is, do you have any shout outs or sponsors that you'd like to acknowledge?
Oh, yes, of course. I want to give a big shout out to Davy's office. There's an office company. It's an office and refurbishing company that's been helping me out in my career since I started, even since I was an amateur. Um, Big shout out to them, and also a big shout out to um iCryo. They're a company where they help me recover and help me get ready for my fights. There is a chamber of a cold chamber where you go in there and you feel brand new. You feel sharp and strong. So big shout out to them for helping me out in my career, supporting me throughout my whole journey. And shout out to God, shout out to my fans, shout out to everyone that's listening and that's tuning in and following me my career, and even though the ones who's not. And shout out to everyone, and shout out to the world, shout out to everything, bless and
Yes.
respect.
Yes.
And shout out to Mark for giving me this opportunity for this interview and everything else he's done for me. Mark is a great guy. I met him down in Jersey, and from there on, we've been rocking it out together.
Yes, for sure. And when you come through New Jersey or PA, because I live right up in the between New Jersey and Pennsylvania, I want you to come and pay me a visit, man. I would love to get some rounds with you in the gym and just just have you be here and spend time with you, man. Maybe share some word with you. And it's just been a distinct pleasure to have you on the Boxing Breakdown today. And I want to tell you that when you fight for your world title, man, I got to be there.
Yes.
Okay. I got to be there.
Yes.
I want to be
sure.
there. And I just thank you so much for being with me today and being on the program. And, I hope you've had a good time. And
I had a great time.
Yeah, man. And to all of you listeners out there, thank you so much for being with us on the Boxing Breakdown. And with that, I'd like to wish you all a wonderful evening. Peace, love, and God bless.
Amen. God bless and happy holidays to everyone.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.